Good evening, everybody. Crypto Strang here. This evening, talk about Celestia, which is a brand new project, literally been in development now for 2 years. We're finally going to get the mainnet later this year. So at the moment, I say they're in the testnet stage, basically describing itself as the first modular blockchain network built to enable anyone to easily deploy their blockchain with minimal overhead. So basically, it's a minimal blockchain that only orders and publishes transactions and does not execute them. So by decoupling the consensus from execution, Celestia wants to enable anyone, basically literally anyone, to easily deploy their blockchain without the hassle of bootstrapping, etc. So I'll show you the team limit. It's a massive team behind this. I think it's a really exciting project. Okay, now as you scroll through their site, celestia.org, I put a lot of links below to their blog, also their YouTube. I found really interesting as well. So you state there, Celestia is a new technology that powers, scales, and secures Web3 applications. To achieve this, Celestia introduced a new modular blockchain architecture that solves the core scaling problems of today's blockchains. They really want to take this to the next level of layer ones, okay? But states there, what is a modular blockchain? Modular blockchain is a new paradigm in blockchain design. Instead of one blockchain doing everything, modular blockchains specialize and optimize to perform a given function. This specialization provides breakthroughs in scalability, flexibility, and interoperability, enabling developers to build blockchain applications for mass adoption. So, massive statements on here. Looks like perhaps the next level of sort of layer one blockchain here. It really does look good. Massive team, I'll show you in a minute, and they really are developing something special here. So, it speaks there about the difference between that and Bitcoin and Ethereum. It states here, what's a good analogy of Celestia? Think of Celestia as a power grid, except instead of providing electricity, Celestia provides this essential resource to power a blockchain, consensus and data availability. Okay, so I think we've got massive potential with this project. Now, try to find more about the token itself. I say they're in the testnet stage. We've got the mainnet this year. They haven't actually released anything about an ICO, airdrops, the actual token name on CoinMarket at the moment, just known as TBD, because obviously they don't even know what the token's called, okay? Now, this would be fascinating to see what the supply is, what they release, what the team, the investors are getting, whether they do staking, etc., and what the actual supply will be. So time will tell, but I think we're in the early stages here, and it could be great early adoption, especially if they do an ICO. I think that'd be absolutely fantastic, and it's certainly one that I'll be doing. But again, it's not financial advice, we'll do your own research. Getting early with projects like this could be very rewarding, but only time will tell. Okay, now, states there, why would I use Celestia? Build blockchains easily, as we said earlier, provides the flexibility, customize your application in a way that suits your needs, and higher scale, unlock access to Web3 applications for everyone with more block space. So you can see here why this could be massive. If they achieve everything they want to do over time, I think it's absolutely fantastic. It talks there about roll-ups, or type of blockchain that offloads some work to a layer one, like Celestia. Okay, we talked before about roll-ups, etc. Roll-ups host apps and process using transactions. By hosting apps across many different roll-ups, apps don't have to compete for computational resources with each other. Okay, now I think this is good that once roll-up transactions get processed, they are then published to Celestia. Celestia's job is to order those transactions and check they're available to download. You can see on the screen here the different bits of the move roll-up, the EVM roll-up, JavaScript, Fuel VVM, as well as Solana VM roll-up. Okay, and it all comes into Celestia. So here it takes there for years. Crypto has endured a monolithic blockchain loop. Each new layer one has built a walled-off system where competition is fierce and zero-sum. This leads to maximalism. They fight over users in their ecosystem. We spoke about many times about all the different layer ones. So much different, literally, in the last few years. The amount of layer ones that have come out with their different technology. We talked about layer ones. The next bull run will be even more competitive because there's so much now in the top 50 layer ones. And we spoke a lot about on this channel about the different layer ones. So again, but I like to think this is a kind of different layer one. Okay. Now I speak to me on more depth about there. I say it's just so much information. Experiment with their testnet example if you want to do that. But I just like everything. Their social media. It's got about 130,000 followers on Twitter. For a project that's literally just in the testnet stage. Imagine when the mainnet comes out later this year. We don't know which quarter it'll be out. So very limited information really about the token, their coin. I really just literally don't know anything about that. So also found their YouTube very interesting. It goes more in depth about what they're actually doing. Did an introduction video on their YouTube page, was very informative. Went off like 35 minutes long with their plans for the future. I've read their documents as well. The white paper looks really interesting again for long term. It talks there about build modular as well, the concepts, states, as we mentioned earlier, the first modular blockchain network, which enables developers to deploy their own blockchain as easy as deploying a new smart contract. Now that's great to see, run different nodes. So what they're doing at the moment is, because they're in the testnet stage, they reached out to the community and they wanted 1,000 participants. Okay, and it's called the block space race. Basically made up of validators, bridge nodes, full storage nodes, and light nodes. People want to use it on the testnet. Spoke, literally this week about Shardium, talked about Zeta Chain, very similar. They want the community to embrace it. As I said on the other videos, I don't know if people get rewarded for being the participants, if they're getting paid. I don't know. You'd imagine they would get some of the Celestia coin when it comes out, but who knows? Okay, no one really knows. There had 22,000 people apply, okay, and 1,000 were selected. The block space race has 5 phases spanning 9 weeks of competition. Each phase will require participants to complete their respective tasks to collect points during the race. The testnet boasts some new features. So again, people have got to test, basically give their feedback to let everyone else issues with the testnet, which is what everyone does with any testnet, okay? States there, was different people there. They had to pick 1,000 from 20,000 is incredible. Over 20,000 people. It must be absolutely impossible to literally choose 1,000, I thought. So it states there about the different phases. Now, the block space race will feature 5 phases. Now, phase 5 runs from May the 1st to May the 8th. So if this is a testnet stage, perhaps the mainnet, I don't know, perhaps looking at July, August, who knows. Okay, but that's fascinating. Again, also I follow them on Twitter. I want to follow this really closely because I think getting in early, again, as I said earlier, can be really beneficial and hopefully some great profits. But also think about holding this long term, okay? If this really does reach its potential, we could have a real gem here. But I say it's no guarantee, obviously. Now, also on their site, I love the way the dashboard's laid out, got all the information you ever need, talks about the advantages, which again makes it different because there is, as I said, so much competition out there. Now, all the different bit, how it works, great to see. We about their roadmap. It's not very in-depth roadmap, to be honest, because obviously, as you see, the current stage we're at now, the incentivized testnet, but the mainnet launch is planned for this year. So, okay, and the states there, running over on testnet, building our development beta. So, they seem to be doing really well. Now, I found this fascinating on their Twitter as well, at least the ecosystem already. They talk about roll-ups as a service, you can settlement layers, infrastructure, wallets, cross-chain, roll-up framework, etc., DeFi. So that was really interesting to see already. They're sort of making great strides, aren't they, and actually making huge development already. So that's great to see. Now, their frequently asked questions is really good. Again, what stage of development is Celestia in? It states there, again, the mainnet this year. Now, Celestia have a token, yes, it's designed to have a token used to secure the network via proof of stake and to pay for the transaction fees on the network. Eventually, a fee burn mechanism, similar to IP 1559 in Ethereum. Okay, now Celestia scale, it talks there about all different information. It's got all the frequent questions you want to know. So again, that's great to see. Also found this information was great to see. The actual funding round they actually raised, which is $55 million. Okay, the investors were Polychain Capital, Blockchain Capital, which are big old companies, and Delphi Digital there, plus all the others. Okay, so there is quite a lot. You can see all the different ones here. Obviously, FTX Ventures. That's not what you want to be associated with now, but you can see all the ones got there, and also you can see the seed round as well there. So I think it's massive when you get so much raised. Obviously, they've sold this to the investors and they believed in it. They can see what they're doing. But when you actually look at the team, now bearing in mind this is just the testnet stage. They haven't got the mainnet. They haven't got the sort of massive partnerships yet. Okay, you can scroll through and look at this huge team. Genuine people with their LinkedIn profiles. Massive. I've looked at a lot of them. They've got massive backgrounds. You can see here, just going briefly picking out some of them. Former core developer at Ethereum Classic. Okay, former test engineer at Oracle. Okay, just former blockchain developer at Web3 Labs. So just going through, and there's a huge, huge team. Okay, absolutely massive. Now, that's a lot of people, and you obviously got massive plans. We've got such a huge team. Okay, now I thought it was really fascinating what they're doing, but also the advisors. Okay, now they've got a decent team of advisors. The co-founder of Tendermint and co-founder of Cosmos, co-creator of IBC and early Cosmos contributor. Okay, so you can actually see here huge potential. Okay, now only time will tell. This is not something where we're going to see massive profits this year. Perhaps the next bull run, who knows? But this year is all about the development, getting the testnet, getting the mainnet, basically getting all the issues resolved before the mainnet goes out there. With that massive investment, obviously that's why they've got such a big team. So they had a massive investment in this project, so they've got the potential there to expand constantly. So I just want to keep a close eye on this. But Celestia, to me, getting in early. Now, obviously, I'm going to follow them on social media because I really want to know if they are going to be an ICO or an airdrop, okay, or when the token's actually going to be released on exchanges, etc. So let's see how it goes. Okay, now I'm actually fascinated by this project. I've been reading up on this now for quite a few days. But I say, some projects you come across you think are absolutely great, but this one to me looks the next level. So But as I say, only time will tell, there's no guarantee. So thanks very much. If you want to help as usual, just email me, info@cryptostrain.com, or my social media links below. Don't hesitate to reach out, help any way I can. Have a wonderful weekend. We will chat again soon. Cheers now. Bye.